Hi everyone, this is Paul here from the Magdalene Centre. Today I'm doing the astrology report for the week commencing the 14th of March, highlighting some of the key transits and changes this week and explaining what they mean for us so we can make better use of the energies that are available for us to use. Now, before I go through the actual aspects themselves, I just want to clarify, as I always do, that astrology doesn't control us in any way, shape or form. It's just a set of influences that we all respond to in various ways, but if we know what the energy is going to be doing, we can respond consciously and make best use of the energy rather than experiencing it through the outside world affecting us. So the more we understand what the energy is doing, the more conscious choices we can make. Now, in terms of the aspects, we'll start off with the moon's transit through the signs as usual. So with the moon beginning in Aquarius this week, this is a time where you may feel the need to be a bit more detached, to look at things objectively and understand what is our part, or what part do we play within our communities, what do we contribute, and how can we achieve a greater degree of unity within the community itself. Then on Thursday, the moon enters Pisces, and this is a good time for things like meditation, because moon in Pisces opens us up to the ocean of oneness, if you like. It's the universal consciousness, and this is a good time for meditating to understand what is going on within our own part of the collective unconscious, and also to help us develop greater depths of things like compassion, empathy, universal love and psychic sensitivity through engaging in positive practices like meditation. So it's a conscious effort rather than going through substitutes. And we'll also have a new moon in Pisces during this transit. This will be on Saturday, and this will be an opportunity for us to set new beginnings or set new intentions in areas ruled by Pisces, like bringing greater light into the collective unconscious, developing greater depths or reserves of universal love, compassion, empathy, psychic sensitivity, and also develop a stronger connection with our intuition. So through connecting with intuition and our psychic senses, we can more readily understand or sense information around us and pick up on what's going on in our immediate environment. Now, this doesn't mean that we give up on logic or anything like that. It's important that we use that, but with the new moon in Pisces, this is a period of developing greater psychic sensitivity and strengthening the right brain, if you like. So it's a time for connecting more with our intuition and bringing that into balance with our logic, so the two work together pretty well. And on the same day as the new moon, the moon continues on and enters into Aries later on Saturday, and this is a time where we may feel that drive to take action. We're not happy sitting around anymore just meditating. We want to take action and commit to some goals. So this is a very good time for taking actions towards whatever objective we set for ourselves. And then on Tuesday, the moon moves into Taurus, and this is a time we may feel the need to slow down a bit, to get grounded, to make sure that we exercise to keep our body strong, and we may feel the need to spend a bit of time in nature, which is naturally very grounding. Now, on the same day as that happening, the sun moves out of Pisces and into Aries, bringing closure to one astrological cycle and initiating a new one. So this is for the remainder of the week where the sun is still in Pisces. It's important that we go within and identify what do we need to let go of in order to make space in our lives for new beginnings, and what attachments have we been holding on to for a long time that don't serve us anyway, but we still hold on to these attachments because we're that used to them that we don't realise that we can let go of them. So it's a time for closure as well, if you like. So whatever unfinished business we have, this is a good idea to try and get as much of it resolved now and released from life, to make space, so that when the new cycle begins on Tuesday, when the sun enters Aries, we have plenty of space in our lives, or plenty of energy ready to be focused on something new rather than stressing over the old. So when the Sun moves into Aries, this will be a time of taking action, of initiating our new goals. So if we use the period of the Sun in Pisces to connect with our dreams and identify whatever goals we want to set, because once the Sun enters Aries, this is a time for planting, it's a time for putting the seeds in the soil and taking the action necessary to get the goals started. Because if we don't take any action, a goal is just an idea and it will never manifest. It's only through action that we can make things happen. And it's during this time with Sun in Aries, this is a time of sowing all those seeds, of setting the new beginnings going and taking action on a consistent basis. Aries also is like the pioneer, it's the first sign of the zodiac, and part of it is having the courage to take action in the face of the unknown, because at the end of the day we may have ideas for what goals we want to set and we may have a good idea for what we want to do in order to achieve it, but we don't know how it's going to unfold in the long run. So and without and sometimes the fear of the unknown and feeling the need that we should need to know more information before we begin can sabotage our efforts to create something. So during Sun in Aries, we need whatever fears and doubts we have, whatever insecurities come up about our ability to create these new goals, we need to face them and overcome them through action in order to keep the goals going. Because otherwise, if we allow fear to stand in our way, then whatever goals that we may set for ourselves that could potentially empower us aren't going to unfold or manifest in our lives. Now, some of the key events this week, they all took place at the weekend. We have Mars. I've already talked about the new moons. I won't really go into that in much more detail, but on the same day as the new moon, Mars moves out of Sagittarius and into Capricorn. So far we've been having, in the past few weeks, Mars has been in Sagittarius focusing on expansion, looking at ideally using our desires or having our desires set on achieving greater self-understanding, of understanding how we fit into the wider world, and may have had a desire for adventure and seek out new experiences in order to get a better idea of who we are in relation to the world around us and not just our immediate environment, which we've grown up in and which we're so used to that we don't necessarily realise it could be the ways of seeing things. But with Mars moving into Capricorn, this is a period where it's about the desire to achieve something, the desire to build something or build a legacy, but it's also a period where we're challenged to bring discipline to the desire function. So rather than just pursuing any old desire or trying to expand ourselves willy-nilly or expand our understanding of who we are or expand our sense of identity, Mars in Capricorn brings us the challenge of taming our desires and bringing them under the control of self-discipline and self-control. And it's also, with Mars in Capricorn, it's a time of converting, or ideally trying to change the desire function into devotion. So it's bringing patience and perseverance to our actions, so we don't just give up at the first hurdle. Capricorn challenges us to see if we truly want to do something or if it's truly meaningful for us. And during this time, what we need to do is, when we're faced with obstacles aren't there to stop us from growing, they're there to test us to see how keen we really are to achieve the goal we say we want to do. And if we truly care about something, we're truly dedicated to it, then whenever an obstacle arises, we won't just give up. We'll maybe take a moment to pause and evaluate the obstacle carefully to understand what is causing it and what actions do we need to take to overcome it or move around it. Because the obstacles, Capricorn is like climbing a mountain, and there will inevitably be parts of that mountain that are tricky to navigate, but those areas are also important because they help us to see how much resilience we have and how dedicated we are to the task of climbing that mountain. So with Mars transit through Capricorn, it's important that we take the time to develop greater self-discipline, greater devotion, and greater patience in our actions. Now, on Sunday, we have two things taking place. We have Ceres has been retrograde since November, but she is now turning direct. Now, Ceres retrograde in Leo has been all about going inwards and nurturing ourselves. Because Ceres is about the mothering and nurturing principle, and in Leo it's about nurturing creativity and self-expression. However, when it's been during the retrograde, we've been asked to focus that within us. So rather than trying to nurture everyone else at our own expense, it's going inwards and nurturing our own spark of creativity and turning it into a flame. Because if we turn the creativity into a flame within us, that it becomes much stronger. And if we understand our own creative abilities and our own way of expressing things, that greater understanding of how creativity works for us then enables us to better nurture the creative spark with others. But if we don't do the work on ourselves, then we can't really be a good example to other people. So with Sarah's turning direct now, is asking us to say, right, well, this is what we've learned, now apply it, put it into our lives and make it a part of who we are, so that we tap into our creative abilities at will and we use them wisely. So we don't just do it to big ourselves up, we nurture our own creativity and we encourage other people to do the same as well, so that people who may struggle with creativity or think they're not creative, we may be able to serve as an example to show them that creativity comes in different forms, and they may well be creative but they just don't see what they're doing as something that's creative, and actually may be very creative. And on the same day we have the Sun conjunct Chiron in Pisces, so the conjunction is building up to this point. So the Sun's conjunct Chiron all week, if technically the exact conjunction is on Sunday. And this is a time where we need to bring the light of awareness to our wounds of disconnection. So these are where we, for whatever reason, we don't feel worthy of love, we don't feel that sense of belonging, we don't feel like we deserve love from other people, and but we still chase that sense of oneness, we still chase that desire to merge. But during this time we need to look at how do we keep ourselves disconnected, where are we holding on to beliefs or wounds from the past that don't serve us, that just keep us stuck to the past and keep us engaging in dysfunctional behaviours and encourage things like codependency in relationships, encourage addictive tendencies. But if we understand the wound or these core wounds and take the time to go inwards and bring the light of awareness to them, we can understand the root cause of them and pull out those roots to get rid of these wounds and allow the universal love that's always there around us, is there for us to tap into at any point. We can then allow it to flow through us and heal us, to fill the void, to fill the areas where the wounds were, and then instead we then have the power of love flowing through us and we become a healing presence rather than a wounded presence. So there's a lot to take on board there, but the main aim or the main focus this week needs to be wrapping up any unfinished business and letting go of anything that no longer serves us, developing greater discipline in our actions, and then from Tuesday onwards, with the Sun moving into Aries and starting a new cycle, having the courage to face any fears that we have and go ahead and pursue the goals that we've set for ourselves, rather than coming up with any excuses because we're afraid to take action, because we're afraid of the unknown. So there's a lot to take on board this week. If we can achieve that closure and make space in our lives for something new, we can then focus the next cycle on creating the new rather than trying to hold on to the old. So may this week bring you much growth, much release, and many new opportunities for transformation. Take care and be blessed.